Boston, Massachusetts Council on Wednesday approved Governor Murray Haley's plan to pardon tens of thousands of convicted misdemeanor marijuana charges going back decades. The pardon approved by the Governor's Council will take effect immediately, although it will take some time to update state criminal records. Officials said Massachusetts made history today. Haley, a Democrat, said in a statement thousands of Massachusetts residents will now see their records cleared of this charge, which will lower the barriers they face when seeking housing, education, or a job. Massachusetts joined several other states, including Rhode Island, Connecticut, Missouri, Oregon, in forgiving low-level marijuana offenses. The pardons will apply to all adults convicted prior to March 13th in state court for possession of marijuana or a Class D substance. Most people will not need to take any action to have their criminal records updated, according to Haley. The state also has set up an online page to request certificates confirming marijuana pardons. Haley, a former state attorney general, said the pardons are the most sweeping by a governor since President Joe Biden in December pardoning thousands of people with federal marijuana possession convictions and called on governors to follow suit. Haley said the pardons will apply to those arrested as far back as the 1970s war on drugs and earlier. A pardon essentially acts as forgiveness initiated by the governor for conviction. It does not automatically seal or expunge criminal records. Haley said the pardons are a matter of justice. Thousands of people still have marijuana convictions on their records, even though the state decriminalized possession of marijuana use in 2008 and legalized recreational marijuana in 2016. Me personally, you guys out there, I think this might be a little too late, but I'm going to ask some of my co-hosts out there and ask you guys in the chat to tell me what you think, and then let's just dialogue about it. So to my co-hosts, what do you think? Too little, too late, or do you think that this really matters? Matter of fact, Rico, what do you think?
He's gone. Rico's gone. Rico's gone. He
Rico
had a meeting.
go.
Yeah,
Rico, no.
Yes, but
no,
I think this was fantastic news. I mean, yeah, I agree. You know, it could have happened a lot sooner and whatnot, but at the same time, it still needed to happen. And if it didn't happen, people will still be complaining that it hasn't happened and whatnot. So better late than never. Glad that they did it. Hope more states move in this similar direction. And shout out to them for their leadership to get this done.
It's low-hanging fruit, guys.
Exactly.
This should be a no-brainer. And they need to avoid California's problem where they brought AGs in to take a look at your record and see if we can filter out and take away a criminal conviction for pot and what else was there. It turned into a goddamn mess. I mean, you should go in there and say how many people have a misdemeanor that involves this and just wipe them out, send them a certificate that you've been pardoned, and move on. Not let too many minds get in this, because the minds are the ones that fuck this whole thing up. Just make it automatic. But I don't know how they handled pot charges, because a lot of places made them felonies. They might deal them down, and that's where it got complicated. That's a little more.
I think that if these issues, if having a marijuana arrest or possession conviction on your record hinders you from getting jobs, going to school, then they need to do something about the school system that hinders you from having the ability to go to school or finding schools for your children because of you having a marijuana conviction. And then also needed to go to the employment agencies and make sure that it is no longer a restriction required for them to drug test you and or look into your past and see that you had a possession charge or something like that. If this is something that hindered you, and it hindered you from the three things that they said, let me see if they were said again. They said it hindered them from, let me make sure I don't want to, said it hindered them from jobs, from getting job, education, or job seeking, housing, education. So even if it hindered you from getting housing, then these are the three things that I feel like is essential for you to go and deal with too as well. Don't just go and pardon a bunch of people because they've already lived their lives and had to live their lives up to this point with having all of these things hindering them. So if housing, if education and job is an issue too as well, then you need to go there and reform those things as well, so they can no longer affect people in the future, but also so you actually fix everything. Because this, personally to me, this is a cut. It's an ugly scar, and they just continue to either cover it with a Band-Aid while it's still bleeding a little bit, or they just try to act like it's still not there. It's more than just you giving people a part. And there are things that you named that I would like to see them do something about. That way, it can. When you tell governors to follow suit and you say, hey, follow suit, then fix those 3 things too. There were 4 things total: the marijuana convictions, housing, jobs, and education. Fix all of them.
From a practical standpoint, though, Tony, the governor has pardon power without having to go to the legislature. If you got to go to the legislature to ask them to put in place laws that limit the ability of employers to look in your background, to test you, like we're doing here in California, that's where it starts getting difficult. These are incremental steps, and I agree we need to do a hell of a lot more. But if a chief executive with a swipe of his pen can pardon anybody with a marijuana misdemeanor, it's like, this is a no-brainer.
No, I mean, I get it. I get that, King, and I'm for all of that. But if I was the governor, I would have put pressure, because you know that she's a Democrat, so the legislature is Democratic. They're Democrats. I would have just went like, look, hey, all of them are behind her. They're all standing behind her. I would have said, hey, look, listen, I'm about to give all these people a pardon, but simultaneously, I need all you guys to start working on legislation to get these 3 things fixed, because ultimately it helps their party. It helps them all together collectively. So even if she was going to do it, what she did, she could announce also, we're going to fix these 3 things. It just shows that we're looking at all the things that's going on. Even if you don't fix the 3 things, saying you're looking into them to fix them also helps even more. And it shows that you really are trying to get, you know, the problems solved. That way people don't have these incidences to deal with in the future. But I agree. I mean, better late than never. I guess I got to agree with you guys. You changed my perception.
But that's what Biden did. We're gonna dismiss or pardon all these misdemeanors in weed, and there really weren't any. But he didn't follow up with anything else. Let's support, safe banking or care or anything like that. So it happens all up and down the line, Tony. Somebody will make a gesture. This is a marketing ploy. But it needs to be followed up with some teeth in legislation. And the problem is that now you get into the employment bank, the corporate interests. I mean, there's a lot of things that are against this. That's why a chief executive should just do the low-hanging fruit and wipe it out. And you're right, she should be promoting the legislature to do things. Biden should tell the Army to stop, worried about people with a past, drug conviction for weed and things like that. But he's not going to do that either.
No.